Welcome to Can, the marketing podcast. I'm Ben from Human Digital, the B2B marketing agency.
And I'm Steph from Q Marketing. This week, we talk about the power of brand collaboration, where 1 + 1 can equal 3.
From Labubu and Coca-Cola to Balenciaga and Scholl, we cover the best and the worst collabs in New Zealand, Australia, and beyond.
So whip out your Coca-Cola Oreo biscuits and a Foursquare Sawmill IPA and settle in.
Happy Wednesday, Steph.
Happy Wednesday, Ben. How's it going?
Good. It's it's good. It's a busy week per usual. I don't know if I have quite weeks.
No. Well, sometimes you have quite end of weeks where you go and make perfumes and do fun stuff, right? It's not all slave to the grind.
This is true.
Yeah. Tell us about your week. What's been happening?
Yeah, this week is full steam. The end of last week, we did have our Human Digital team days. So the Australian and the New Zealand team came together in Auckland, and we had a couple of days of strategy and planning and reflection. And definitely the highlight of that was the fragrance workshop at Miller Road. So everyone spent a couple of hours experimenting and creating their own fragrance, which they got to take home, which was good fun.
Got some questions. I know that you went and did some perfume discovery work when you went to France earlier in the year. Did that make you something of an expert in this workshop? And did you sort of act as the 2IC taking people
Definitely
through?
not. No, I was there for the experience. I was there to learn and to create, and to give them credit that the workshop was an amazing experience, very well planned. You can tell they've put a lot of thought into the whole 2.5 hours. The two amazing assistants that took us through, knew exactly what they were talking about. It was structured and planned and very well executed. And they also served us 2 options of delicious tea, which we sipped through the experience as well. So no alcohol, but just very holistic.
That's
it was
really cool.
nice.
Love it. Awesome. What else has been happening?
And then yesterday and this morning was Spark Accelerate. So this is their main technology conference, which they hold in Auckland. So it was at the Viaduct Centre, right in the Viaduct in the centre of Auckland. And 650 technology leaders came together to talk about everything. Well, a lot of AI, but
I was going to say, tell me, let me guess.
Cloud and data. Yeah. So it was really good. Great turnout. Spark does such a good job. Big shout out to Daz, a previous guest on the pod, for all his work that he did with the team to bring that about. So that's the second time that they've made this amazing event. So very well done, Spark.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we've got a lot of new people as well. So we're currently hiring 2 roles in Human Digital, an account manager and a performance lead. We've got 2 new interns coming in from Marketing Association marketing leaders. So Dee is coming in to support us with Can. So we are really excited for Dee to be part of this little team. And we also have Saloni coming in for Human Digital, the top talent program from Marketing Association. Great program and big supporter of all the work they do. So congrats to our interns.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to having Dee on board. It'll be great.
What's been happening in your world this week, Steph?
Okay, right. Well, so we all know that Christmas is coming. And last week, I think we talked about John Lewis's Christmas ad, or if we didn't, I intended to. And so that just got me really excited. I have a 14-year-old daughter. She desperately wanted the Christmas decorations to go up last weekend. We are doing it this weekend. I'm going to my first Christmas party. So we are currently recording this slightly earlier in the day, and that is because I'm off to my very first Christmas party. So I'm super excited about that.
Brilliant.
And then really in terms of on the personal side of things, I spent some time, again, because it's party season, I like to do a bit of thrift store shopping. And I ended up going to support a girlfriend in the weekend and ended up buying a whole bunch of sequin dresses and ball gowns, and including my outfit that I'm wearing today. So that was an amazing, it was a great experience. And I really enjoy the sustainability aspect of not buying everything new. And some people are horrified by the idea of thrift shopping, but I really love it. And then on the work side of things, I've been quite busy doing board reports this week for one of my clients. And then again, it's award season. I am off to the Auckland Business Chamber Business Awards tomorrow night for Central. So that's awesome to celebrate Auckland businesses doing really well. So really excited to support those businesses there.
Brilliant. And you are looking amazing today, Steph. Will
Thanks.
some of your thrift shop purchases be making appearances during this award season? We're
Exactly.
gonna, yeah, good. We're gonna see Sequin Steph.
We're going to see Sequin Steph. We're going to see, what else we're going to see? We'll see some Sequin Steph and Lace Steph. Yeah, so
Very nice.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Right, give us the news. What's been happening in the news this week, Ben?
Well, kind of newsy style, Lindt has released their Dubai style chocolate and it has hit the shelves here. I walked past these in the store and I thought there was a mistake because they were advertised for $25 and I've actually seen them subsequently. So this was at Woolworths. I've seen them at a Woolworths Metro for the markup price of $27.
Far out.
I mean, not the most expensive chocolate that I've bought, but definitely the most expensive chocolate I've bought probably in a supermarket. Like you were aware of this as well, Steph. Well, it sounds like your daughter was.
Aforementioned 14-year-old, I got a message in the family chat to say, I'd like to try some Dubai chocolate. And luckily for me, I had a photo that you'd already sent me from the supermarket and I sent it to her and she said, actually not for $25. So I believe that this will be all over TikTok because that is where she gets all of her, that's where all the news comes from.
So Dubai chocolate or Dubai style chocolate, it is one of those trending products. It is pistachio.
I was just going to say,
pastry filled.
Is it pistachio? Because pistachio is having a moment.
It is definitely having a moment. And so this is Dubai style. And I think this is just Lindt's take on that and jumping on that trend. But yeah, definitely more investigation to be had there.
So you're not going to eat it on the episode. Actually, we're not really that we're not in the ASMR type situation, but I'd like you to say 50% of that chocolate for me, thanks.
No one wants to hear me eating ASMR style on this podcast.
No, but
thank you.
I have to say, I feel like, and now I've got to go into TikTok and figure out how they're advertising this, because if I walked past this on an aisle end or on a display stand in a supermarket, there's nothing appealing to me about. I don't get it. It looks like avocado coming. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, it's interesting. And another news item is Meta. So there was a report by Reuters saying that it found 10%, e.g. $16 billion worth of its advertising for scams. So Meta has obviously disputed this, but essentially we've all seen scammy ads. Scammy ads are everywhere. I think that, one of the banes of internet life these days. And obviously Meta makes monies. There is a balance that Meta has to reach. Obviously they want that $16 billion of revenue.
So you're saying that they're not monitoring it and so they're either fake products, is that the idea here? They're fake products or false advertising?
So the kinds of ads included in the promotion were fraudulent e-commerce and investment scams, think crypto, illegal online casinos, and the sale of banned medical products. So basically anything that breaches Facebook's own or Meta's own advertising standards.
Yeah, okay.
And potentially are illegal in the countries that are served.
Public service announcement. It's also Mercury retrograde currently. And what you'll find, Ben, is that scams are rife. So for the month of November...
Good to know.
Meta's not picking it up and you should be careful.
Yes, and whatever you do, if it sounds too good to be true, like Dubai style chocolate, question it. Is it worth the investment and the calories?
Look for some online reviews, maybe.
There's no quick wins in this life, Steph.
No.
And speaking of quick wins, Uber and Snapchat have unveiled an AI-powered campaign featuring Shania Twain and Tom Cardy. So they have launched this campaign in Australia and it's called Can't Do That If You're Driving, which is quite funny. Great for Uber.
I've got some ideas.
Yeah, the campaign features global music icon Shania Twain alongside local comedian musician Tom Cardy, and it marks a first use of Snapchat's generative AI-powered sponsored lens by an advertiser in Australia. So yeah, look out for that.
Okay, wonderful.
And you've got some news?
What? No? What?
No, you've already talked about the John Lewis ad.
I'd already well, actually, I will talk about it again. So it's another tearjerker of an ad.
It's a tearjerker. It's just so cute.
Last week we talked about, and I promise we won't talk about Christmas every week, but we talked about Coca-Cola and the AI ad, and then I mentioned John Lewis, and I think, well, as far as I can tell, that ad is not AI generated. It's very real, and but do you know what it is? It's the power of storytelling, and gets me every time. So if you haven't seen it already, look up the John Lewis ad for Christmas
It is
2025.
cute. It is cute. It pulls at those heartstrings.
Yeah, exactly.
We love
Okay.
emotional campaigns.
So this week I won the coin toss, and we get to talk about brand collaborations. So
Yay! Brand collabs. And I want to start off by saying I gifted Steph actually a brand collab, which she unboxed, and she has it here. There we go. So this is a collab between two amazingly basic brands, Labubu and Coca-Cola together, and Steph had a great time unboxing that experience.
it's a dream. It was a dream made in heaven. All my marketing dreams came true. So yes, I really love this topic because, well, I mean, I think, my background is FMCG or consumer packaged goods. There's so much of it in this space. And I think it's just becoming more and more prolific. So an adjacency to doing great experiential, I think one of the other things I love doing is a brand collab. So yeah, excited to talk about it today.
And in terms of the definition of a collab, brands can collaborate over a number of things. There's obviously product collabs where they mash up crazy flavors together, like, Coca-Cola and Tim Tams, or there's been some crazily interesting food mashups and brand mashups. But then there's also combinations in services industry. There's a lot of collaborations. But yeah, what makes a winning collab?
Yeah, and I've got some thoughts on this, but really keen to get your perspective as well. So in a best case scenario, the reason you do it in the first place, I think, is because you want to either get access to another audience that you don't have access to. You want to expand the reach. So rather than just going out and talking about your own product, if you can partner with somebody else, in theory, your audiences are really closely aligned, or it's incremental. So I think that would be a really great starting point.
Yeah, and I think it can't just be, you can't just go, like I always think in Venn diagrams. My life is a big set of Venn diagrams. You want some overlap. You don't want two really polar opposite brands coming together. You need some initial overlap where you have affinity with those customers on both sides of the Venn diagram. But yeah, the opportunity is how maybe you bring those two circles together to increase that little market share.
Yeah, when I was doing some research on this, actually, it was really interesting because two fashion examples came up, one being pegged as a really great one and one being really awful. And in the fashion world, there's in recent times, I haven't seen it so much in the last 12 months, but the idea of a really entry point, a fashion retailer like Target partnering with like a Kate Moss, or Target did a collab with Mizoni. And apparently, so the great thing about that is that you've got this super high end, really distinctive distinctive brand, and then they develop a capsule range, and it just drove people that capsule's just sold out in minutes. But then there was another example that was again like Target and Neiman Marcus, but apparently that didn't work because they were so far apart. So if you I don't know, I think the fashion collabs are a really great example of just it gives great credibility to Target. But what about the Mizoni perspective? Like what was in it for them?
Yeah, and there are brands that kind of move up when they collab and move down. You've got some big brands like one of the prolific collaborators in the fashion world is Balenciaga, and Balenciaga, very controversial fashion brand, but they've done some cool stuff. Their clothing is very distinctive, and they definitely put a spin on it. But Balenciaga have collabed with Puma in 2025. They partnered with Skoll also in 2025.
Hang on, what brand is that?
It's a shoe brand.
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying. Did they?
Yeah.
It's a horrible, comfortable shoes for your bunions.
Exactly. There's brands are doing some crazy things. So their concept there was that Frankenshoe, which is a hybrid heel combining Scholl's sandal style cork sole high heel.
Oh, God.
And The Guardian described it as Balenciaga and orthopedic brand Scholl team up for Frankenshoe hybrids. So, Balenciaga is there to get attention. Some people would call them like the anti-fashion fashion brand. They do garbage
Yeah.
bags. They do crazy stuff.
Wasn't there one at one stage with an IKEA bag that looked very much like an IKEA? I don't know if that was Balenciaga or not. Fashion's not really the high-end fashion is probably not my area of expertise, but
Yes, I feel that IKEA, very, very timely. They are coming to New Zealand very soon. They're here. I don't think they're open yet. But that bag, that blue plastic bag,
yeah.
is a fashion item. And I've also seen a lot of people reconstructing and deconstructing those bags into clothing and furniture on TikTok.
I mean, that's a very IKEA thing to do too, isn't it? Repurpose something that, for another intent. So the other thing in terms of what I think makes a really good collab is, so because I've come from an FMCG world, there's often pack changes that need to happen. So if you're thinking about coming out with a limited edition, so I think the easiest example to give is the Whittaker's chocolate, right? So if Whittaker's have just somehow built this into almost their brand DNA, I think, and they're regularly coming out with collaborative ideas. Now, if you can imagine what it might be like to be sitting in the Whittaker's shoes, you have to develop the packaging, you've got to do the
you have to do the
recipe.
product first, even before the packaging, you have to, as you say, recipe
formulation, and kind of go, how will a jelly tip go into our chocolate, and how will that work? And the length of time that it takes to do things like that extend, I guess that there's a whole lot of resource that goes into a collab that you want to make sure that it's worth doing. I would say by anyone's definition, if you're listening in New Zealand, a Whittaker's collab is, the definition of success, because they're usually highly aligned to like really famous flavor profiles. It drives extra display. I'm sure they pay for it, but there's so much in it, and it drives PR and earned media because people are so excited to try the new flavor.
And Oreo is fairly prolific for their collabs as well. I mean, I love Oreos. I love the original. I love double stuffed, but they have done some crazy collabs as well. I've seen the Oreo Sour Patch. I didn't actually taste those ones, but there has been one with Coca-Cola recently. They were not too bad.
That sounds weird to me. That seems like a weird combination. Did it taste all right?
That tasted good. They've done Oreo and Reese's. They've done Oreo and I think was there a singer that collabed with them as well?
Potentially. But the thing there, right? So let's talk about Oreo, because it's an American market, really. Like, we're not an established market for Oreo, and they're so cheap. In this market, where do you think the line can be drawn between how often you're doing a brand collab, or how much of your product range should be not your core product but an add-on? Like, I think there's a real danger there, where if you've done too many collaborations, you've actually lost kind of the point of your original flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. It depends on the brand and how playful and adventurous you are as a brand. One of the brands that I am having a real moment with at the moment is Biscoff. So I don't know if you've seen, but Biscoff is
I have
everywhere.
A 14-year-old. I have a
Biscoff is crazy. So there's Biscoff cheesecakes. They've collabed with Gongcha. They're everywhere. They're on donuts. They're in baking. The Biscoff is, and it's amazing flavor, but they must be TikToking off the charts.
And I also, much like the Labubu craze, I do sort of feel like that's kind of a one in, one out type scenario. There was an example that I saw this week, which I really loved. So I'm in the middle of looking at a brand collaboration opportunity, and I was speaking to my creative agency about it, and he brought up I don't know, have you been on any New Zealand flight recently? That ParrotDog have developed a specific product for Air New Zealand. It's designed because apparently, so here's the insight, your taste buds change when they're up 30,000 feet in the air.
I've heard that. I don't know if I believe it, but sure. Let's go with it.
But it's a good story. And things that we love about Air New Zealand is they're really good at promoting New Zealand brands. So they definitely give New Zealand brands a shot. And so ParrotDog have developed a beer for Air New Zealand. It'll be an exclusive product. And then the way that they've advertised it, and obviously this is an audio medium, but this is the other thing that I think is really important. When you bring these two worlds together, who's taking on the marketing? So Air New Zealand will have their own audience to speak to, and ParrotDog will have their audience to speak to. Now, what you want to do is make sure that you are both promoting that product in a way that is true to your brand. So, but what ParrotDog have done in a really clever way is that if you can imagine the shape of an aeroplane under a purple satin sheet, so the kind of the color of Air New Zealand, and it's a bit of a tease video, and then the sheet lifts up and it is the can of the ParrotDog lying down, I think something else on the side, and it goes, and it's sort of, you've got the attention because it looks like an Air New Zealand ad, but it's revealed and it's the ParrotDog can. So that's one thing to think about is if you're doing a true collaboration, you've each got to tell the story of the collab, but they might look and feel quite different.
And one of the bigger collab opportunities is movies. And
yeah,
I think a good example is Barbie. And my question is, which brand did Barbie not collaborate with? Because I feel like that would be a smaller list. But like when Barbie came out, the entire world turned pink. There was Grill, there was Pinkberry, there was Krispy Kreme, and that was just the food categories. Then there was skates, and there was home furnishings, and there was clothing, and there was cosmetics. Like it was amazing. And their marketing budget must have been absolutely huge. I mean, this is a toy company, but and similar for Wicked as well. Pink and green, everything. The whole world turned a different color.
That was crazy. But I don't know, is that a collaboration or is that a license? Is that very smart marketing from Barbie to license their product across a whole bunch of categories? The way I see that is it's almost like you kind of have to jump on the train because you can see that's going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. So if you didn't license to have a Barbie Krispy Kreme and a blah, 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 what is that? I don't know. It's probably, was it good for sales for everybody?
Yeah, good question. I can tell you they spent a lot of money on those budgets.
I think Barbie did. I mean, the Barbie itself did a great. Actually, wasn't a bad movie either.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It was definitely polarizing, I think, for some people. And that actually is a good thing. Like, there is a bit of an unknown. It's like jumping on a trend on social. The movie could have been a flop, or it could have been extremely controversial. And then all of a sudden, your brand is tied to this thing that maybe you don't want to be tied to. So what happens when that happens, Steph? When brand collabs go south? You pull all the product off the shelf?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. So let's go back to timeframes and planning. Again, in the food space, make sure that it tastes all right. This is the other thing. Don't just chuck it, don't rush it, would be my advice. In all seriousness, you imagine if Whittaker's, and I actually think this has happened. I have a feeling, and I cannot think of it off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Whittaker's have had there's been at least one product that didn't quite meet those taste expectations.
I don't think they pulled it. They would have just put it on clearance, I would assume.
Yeah, probably. But I think the other thing to be really mindful of is, again, going back to that incrementality for both brands. It's actually got to, you've often talked about that principle of a win-win-win. You really do want that collaboration to be good for both parties. And as you're going into it.
And for the consumer, I think that's the other way. It has to be a win for both brands, and it has to be a win for the person buying it.
Do you remember, this is controversial, so All Blacks, for example, one of the other ones that's a really great example of and they are a sponsor, but the Weet-Bix and All Blacks, the way that Weet-Bix have integrated their sponsorship with All Blacks into the Stat Attack in their Weet-Bix packets. I don't know if you've
haven't seen that.
So no. if you're
not a fan of All Blacks or Weet-Bix, controversial, I know.
Okay, so there was. This is super controversial. So Weet-Bix have done a great job. Sanitarium have done a great job of leveraging their sponsorship of the All Blacks, and they've integrated it into their pack in a way that makes sense because you can collect collectible cards of the All Blacks when you buy Weet-Bix. It's the food of the All Blacks. That makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a period in time, and it was probably about 10 years ago, where Steinlager, as a sponsor of the All Blacks, decided to do a campaign, and it was the abstain for the game. And it was wear a black ring on your finger to show that you were abstaining to support the All Blacks.
Abstaining from what? Abstaining from what, Steph? It sounds like one of those chastity rings.
It was. And let's just say...
Really? It wasn't abstaining from Steinlager?
Nope.
Wow. I mean, that has bad idea written all over it. Who approves this stuff?
What do you think happened?
It would have gone down like a lead balloon.
I think there's a warehouse of black rings sitting.
Oh my God. So they didn't even launch them?
No.
Good.
Yeah. So
and that is the right decision. Better to have a warehouse full of unused black rings than a brand that suffers immense damage.
Yeah, again.
100% right decision. Sunk cost, let it go.
Yeah, really think it all the way through, right? So
Yeah. Before
again,
you print the rings, maybe.
yeah, I was working. I wasn't on time. I'm pleased to say that wasn't my brand, but yeah, come back to your brand DNA. Come back to what your brand stands for. If you really I feel like I say this all the time, but if you understand your brand positioning and what's good about your brand, you want to find like-minded people to be in your circle that can help amplify that.
Yeah, it's all about that Venn diagram. It's appearing again.
Yeah.
Get those. How much overlap of those circles can you get?
One of the other ones I just wanted to kind of touch on too was longevity in brand collabs, right? So in much the same way that you take, ideally take on a sponsorship whereby it's a long-term sponsorship and you're not just doing it for 1 year. The New World Little Garden, that's been a really great concept of collaborating, I guess, and having a platform that has driven loyalty. They've obviously not gone with the Little Garden concept anymore. But that was around for, I would say at least 3 years. And so again, a nice way to drive meaning into your brand through an ongoing collaboration that people come to expect and to love.
Do you think the collabs need longevity? I'm of the opinion that you do a collab to get notoriety and PR. It's all of that earned media that you're going to get when people are testing and trying your product. Does it need to last long?
I think you want to, first and foremost, are you a brand that wants to do collaborations? So is that something that your brand can do or should do? Because not every brand should.
Are you an Oreo or a Whittaker's? No.
Yeah.
But even some brands that you think might not, like Vegemite and Marmite, they've done a lot of collabs. These are very niche tastes that have gone pretty wide.
I think you've got to think about the problem that you're trying to solve. So is it...
Me hungry, me need food.
Again, it's reaching new customers, right? In a perfect world. But you want to go, because there's extra time and effort involved in finding a partner, negotiating terms. It's often expensive. You've got product development.
But then there's also benefits as well. You're obviously, usually will be co-funding in any spend, any media spend and any development spend. And usually there is kind of, that one core producer like Whittaker's. It's Whittaker's, not the flavor or brand that they're introducing. Same with Oreo.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, I don't know.
Although I have seen, I think actually, now that we're talking about it, there was an Oreo flavored Coca-Cola. So that was an example of where there was a collab and they had both products taking on, which I thought was quite cool. So yeah, there was Oreo flavored Coke.
So the thing that sparked this whole episode actually was someone sending to me, because it's a well-known fact, I'm a huge fan of Foursquare.
It was Labubu. It was
not.
No, it wasn't the
Stop
Labubu.
it. It's not. So Sawmill.
Steph is secretly obsessed with Labubu.
I won't take this. I will not take this. So Sawmill Brewery, which is based just north of Auckland, have done a limited edition Bright Summer IPA for Foursquare. Now, what's cool about that is a New Zealand brand makes sense. The can it's got the Foursquare man on it. It's really bright and summery, kind of at that stage, really. The Sawmill logo is on there. But
do you have one? Do you have one to show?
No, I don't, but I tell you what, I'll go and get one on the weekend. And I would like to think that if you went, and I don't know this to be a fact because I haven't done my research, but if you went up to the Sawmill Brewery, I would like to think that they would serve that Foursquare can to you in the brewery as well. I think it's pretty cool because it's fun. It's summer. One of the things that's really great about Foursquare, and I know this from working in FMCG, they really come into their own in summer. So the thing about Foursquares is that they're typically located in beach areas and holiday spots. And so a lot of marketing is pushed. They don't often get a lot of love throughout the year, typically, but you're in a Waihi beach, you're in in the Coromandel, that is when those Foursquares make a lot of money. So having a summer, it'll be hugely popular, I would imagine.
And love the Foursquare brand, and I love how it's evolved, but how it's also stayed really traditional, and they have kept a lot of those key brand elements. And being a Kiwi, growing up beachside in the summer, very fond memory of going in store to, buy a Fruju or a jelly tip or a bag of candy.
An Oreo, a Whittaker's chocolate bar.
Yeah, we love those. We love those true Kiwi classics, or a pie, and now you can get a beer. Are they all licensed? Are all Foursquares licensed?
Yes, I can confirm. Well, I haven't been to one that isn't, so maybe there's none out
Sure.
west. Now, just to kind of round this out, can you think of any great collaborations in the B2B space?
Well, funny you should say, there is a new collaboration. So Human Digital has collaborated with Ether. So Ether is
Uh,
an
yes.
AI platform that helps marketers use their data and knowledge to create amazing presentations. So in terms of value alignment, so both companies looking to elevate the work of marketers, both companies very grounded in both technology, but also the human side of marketing, and both reaching out to a similar buyer, which is a marketing leader. So lots of great collaboration there. And another one is the Human Digital partnership with Firmable. So
Oh,
Firmable
yeah.
is an Australian, New Zealand company that helps with sales data and customer data. So again, great for generation, great for customer research and creating amazing outbound campaigns.
Awesome. Fantastic. Right. Well, I'm off to, I think I should probably go and get myself down to a Foursquare and maybe a block of Dubai chocolate.
Are there any collabs that you would want to see, Steph? Do you have any brands that you really love that you're like, they should get together?
Well, anything that Les Mills would do, obviously.
Mm,
In actual fact, they're very, actually, on that note, they are, over the years, because I've been there for such a long time, they used to be, they will pick a sports brand and they will align with it. So it has been Reebok, it has been Nike, but it is now very firmly Adidas. And
yeah.
so there is a merch range that you can buy, Les Mills merch range, and that is Adidas product. So that is hugely embedded into the business.
Have you seen the colorways? What are the colorways currently? Because I saw recently, and I think maybe it's finished, but there were a lot of pastels that were really
I
cool.
haven't, I'm not sure, but for me, if I was to be sucked into any collab, it'd be fashion. Like anything that is, if I can go to Target and get a high-end fashion capsule, and I have done it in the past, and I would absolutely, that would get me to part with my dollars for sure. What about you?
In terms of collabs, I do love a good food collab. I'm a big fan of spicy mayo. So integrating spicy mayo is great. Yeah, I'm big into the food collabs. I love a new flavor, a new taste. Maybe,
See, I'm
this is
not.
why I picked up the Dubai style chocolate. I'm a big fan of Mexican food. So I do love like that mashup of sweet, spicy, just goodness.
I think doing things like chef collabs is really good in the hospo space too, right? So, things also in the alcohol world, like if you've got a particular bartender who's created a particular style of drink, or chefs will often go and do guest spots, or they'll create, a bespoke menu for something. I think I'd really be into that as well. I'm just trying to think of any other examples. Yeah, fashion.
Yeah, fashion, food, all of those great things.
Would you get? What about a car? What if there was a Balenciaga Tesla?
Actually, I don't know any specifics, but I do know that there have been collabs between car brands and kind of the interior where they will either use the leather or some kind of fabric from a partnership. Maybe there's something that they can do with IKEA with those plastics, although I don't know if I'd want to sit on those plastics.
No, but again, the insight there is it's limited edition. And that ties, when you're talking in that luxury space, you're talking to the idea that you can get something that's capsule, limited edition, only available for a short period of time. I think that's also something to think about when you're looking at collaborations. The other thing I was going to say is an example of where it's gone horribly wrong, Yeezy.
Oh God, yeah. Not great.
No, I mean, yeah.
I did do a restaurant collab. So if you've been to Paris Butter, so Paris Butter is a great restaurant just outside of Ponsonby. Is it Herne Bay?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, it's Herne Bay.
So they did a collaboration with a New York restaurant called 63. And that was an amazing experience. They just did 2 nights. It was great. all I can say, there was a lot of caviar and I wasn't complaining. There was caviar on everything. And I think the highlight for me on that menu was a cheesecake, which I'm a big fan of, served with caviar. And it was amazing. The texture and the flavor, brilliant collab. Paris butter, 63 Clinton, heaving fan.
Yeah, great. And I think it's a wonderful example of combining two forces together.
Brilliant.
Cool. All right. Well, what are we doing next week?
What are we doing next week? We've got a couple of topics off the bat. Coming up, though, we do have a collab with one of my fans. So for our Christmas edition.
I don't know where this is going. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yep.
So for our Christmas edition, we have a collab with another amazing marketer. So we will be bringing Eugene on to the show. So that's something for everyone to look forward to. But I think the next topic, Steph, is personal branding.
Perfect. This will be great. Actually, very timely for you. This will be wonderful. You'll have lots of insights to bring to the table.
Indeed, indeed. And we've had some amazing personal brands that have been on the show. And Eugene being one of those. Eugene actually has a good talk about creating a personal brand. So we'll be talking about that as well.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much and have a great week, Ben.
Have a great week, Steph.